It's time for the big show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
Hello, everybody. I'm Andy Gallo.
And I'm CJ.
And our guest is Amber Digby. Amber, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, we're so glad to have you.
Tell me where you got started.
Well, I was born and raised in Nashville, Tennessee.
Music City.
Yeah, my parents were both in the music business. They both ended up in Nashville in the 60s in the industry, and my dad's a professional bass player, and so that's what brought him to town. And my mom and her sister and her brothers, all musicians, singers, songwriters, so everybody kind of just converged on Nashville in the 60s. I came along a lot later. But that's where my mom and dad met, was actually her sister introduced my dad to my mom because they were both working for Charlie Louvin at the time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Another name drop. I knew we were going to drop some names here.
Oh, yeah.
I knew we were going to do
Well,
that.
let's drop
sure.
some more names.
Go
Who
ahead.
all did your dad play for?
Okay, before he went to Nashville, he was playing at a club in Atlanta and did a lot of shows with Mel Tillis, so he was real close to him and that whole bunch. Then once he got to Nashville, he had a job waiting for him with Tex Ritter. Then Tex Ritter, Charlie Louvin, David Houston, the Osborne Brothers, Cal Smith, Loretta Lynn.
Wow. Now, where did you get started? When's the first time you sang a note that you can remember?
At home, I was little. I was maybe in kindergarten or first grade, and I would sing with my mom and my aunts, and because like at the family gatherings, there was food and music.
Okay.
It was like after at Thanksgiving especially, and everybody, there were amps and guitars and a drum set. I mean, everybody just sat around and jammed and sang, and even us kids would join in.
It was a given that you were going to be on stage sometime, somewhere.
I think so. I didn't consciously say I think I want to do this until much later.
Right.
Until I was a teenager.
You know, I don't know if we butted in or what, but due to some recent kind of sad events, actually, did we, or was my mind off somewhere else? It happens sometimes. Did we not talk about your dad playing for 22 years as the bass player for Loretta? Did we say much about that?
No, that was who he worked for the longest.
That's your fault, not mine.
Yeah, he left Cal to work. He got a job offer with Loretta, and I was a baby. I was brand new. And so my whole life, I knew Dad worked for Loretta.
So how'd you spend your summers?
On the road with him, mostly. We go to Grandma's in Georgia, but other than that, he took me with him on the road.
Did your grandma sing?
No, my grandmother didn't. His mother didn't, but my mom's mom sang. Her and her sisters,
Okay.
So
Okay, cool.
But yeah, I spent a lot of time on the road during the summers, and at the ranch, but also on the road and going with him to shows, festivals, and stuff.
Wow.
So
You have a brother, David?
yes, I do.
I've heard that.
What does he do?
He is a drummer, and he runs a Taekwondo academy there in Nashville.
I thought you were going to tell me he was a mechanic. He was the guy that worked on the bus.
No.
No, he didn't do that. Okay.
No, he was a tattoo artist for like 25 years, and he retired to run the Taekwondo academy, and
Cool.
he's fixing to go back on the road playing drums. He's a rock drummer, though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
Okay. Well, we'll forgive him. Yeah,
So my kids as teenagers went through a rock and roll spell. Did you?
Yes. I went to a lot of rock concerts, and I mean, I still love all genres of music, but yeah, my heart is in country, obviously, because that's what I wind up writing country songs, and
But
love singing country songs the most. So.
Yeah. And the country that you sing, though, is the kind of country that I think, well, that's the kind of country I grew up on.
Yeah.
Listening to real country music.
Yeah.
And I think we talk about it all the time, that, the roots country or the heart of country is, based on that fiddle, steel, guitar type stuff,
I agree.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
The good stuff for sure there. Well, you're going to sing a song for us, right?
Yeah, I'd love to.
And we've got the accompaniment guy over here.
Are we done already?
No, we're not done, but I'm going to get her to sing a song, and then we can come back and talk some more.
Or, well, we always did the song at the very end, so I was afraid that we were through.
I just thought I'd throw a kink in everything.
Yeah, I thought she was doing great.
He's just,
kind of mess you up a little bit
He's
there.
being spontaneous right now. I like
what
that.
you going to do?
He's anxious. Actually, he's anxious to hear it.
Well, that's what it is. I love to hear her sing,
Well,
though.
thank
'Cause
you.
I always go to YouTube, and I'm always listening.
Yeah.
You know, I listen to this guy right here pick and grin while you're singing. So
I'm in good hands with him playing guitar behind me, too.
There are several indicators at what a wonderful vocalist she is, both as a lead vocalist and singing harmony. Because when they get me up at one of their shows, she sings harmony with me, and buddy, that's not easy to do.
Hey, and something that I noticed, they rode with you over here. So, you know.
I don't drive. No.
Yeah, I know. They'll
Oh,
never
no,
ride.
Randy drives.
Oh, Randy. Okay, you're in good hands then.
Very good hands, yes.
Good hands. Very good. All right. Well, whenever y'all get ready to kick it off, go right ahead.
Ready?
Tell about the song.
Oh, okay. This is a song that I wrote with Vince Gill, who's become a good friend of mine, mentor. And he had the initial just idea or hook for the song, and we got together and sat down and wrote it. You know, I'm real proud of this song. And he cut it first, actually. He cut it on his album, Guitar Slinger.
What's the name of it?
One More Thing I Wish I'd Said. So many nights I let you share my bed. The note you left on my pillow I never read. Losing you will haunt me till I'm dead. Still I search for one more thing I wish I'd said. I tried to give you everything I could. If I could have you back, God knows I would. Your name still echoes through my head while I search for one more thing I wished I'd said. Wish I'd said I love you a million times. Wish I'd held your body closer, closer to mine. But you turned to another's arms instead. And I search for one more thing I wish I'd said. What I'd give to have you share my bed, but I search for one more thing I wished I'd said.
That's pretty there.
It's great.
You.
I like that. I like that.
So Vince, he said to you, he said, Gal, you need to move up here to Nashville because this is where it's happening. No?
That's not what he said, actually, at all.
Yeah, I knew that. I was trying to lead you on.
Okay, you wrote that song with Vince. So what else have you written?
Well, I've got a lot of stuff that hasn't been released yet. But I've written stuff with Danny Flowers, Larry Cordell, and Larry Shell.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Cordell recorded last year one of the songs we wrote together, Love Will Make You Crazy.
Oh, wow.
it came off really good too. Oh gosh.
Now, didn't he write Murder on Music Row?
He
as
sure
well? That's
did,
what I
and he
thought.
wrote Highway 40 Blues.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. I've written with Steve Gully. God rest his soul. What a monster talent. Bluegrass guy, great writer, great singer. Oh my gosh. It's like I've actually written with a lot of people. I'm very blessed, very lucky, you know.
You mentioned bluegrass. Do you do some bluegrass occasionally, or have you? It's not.
I do. I love bluegrass.
Do you? Okay.
But my husband, and this is what's funny. I know my dad worked for the Osbournes. He's on Fastest Grass Alive album on a lot of their sessions. And I heard bluegrass all the time growing up, like doing the Opry and things like that. But I'm like not a student of bluegrass like my husband, like Randy is, you know, or pop, you know. You know, which is funny, and a lot of people think, really? That's weird. I'm like, well, you know, I was around country music more.
They're definitely bluegrass crooners, that's for sure.
Oh, I love bluegrass. And I've written with another bluegrass guy, John Weisberger. He's won a lot of IBMA awards, and he's great to write with, very talented, you know, so...
You know, there are a lot of factors about why you choose the genre that you choose. I mean, nobody said to Eddie Arnold, "Man, you should have been a bluegrass singer," because,
right?
You know, but you got some of them guys from Southwest Virginia up there that can sing high tenor, and they make great bluegrass singers. So I think not that Amber couldn't. I mean, there's women in bluegrass that are fine.
Rhonda Vincent.
Singer. Rhonda Vincent.
Yeah. Oh, I love her. And her and I've actually cut a song together already. Really? It just hadn't been released yet.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
She comes up a lot around here. You know, if she ever gets in town, we'd like to get a hold of her.
Yeah. And she loves country. She's you know.
I remember she had a couple of country albums at one time.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
So.
I've been a fan of her since I can remember. You know. So.
And when her dad comes to town, I definitely want us to get him on here.
He's got a bluegrass voice. My dad has got,
and he has got stories.
And that's what we like. We like some stories.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, he's got good ones.
Amber is a 2 podcast person too, but her dad is going to take 3, maybe.
3 or 4.
Okay.
All right. Speaking of stories, you guys got any good road stories out there that we can clean them up a little bit? We can listen to it. Put them in.
Boy, well, you're talking about you're
like
wanting a certain kind of huh?
Like when you were with Loretta, maybe, or
oh gosh, yeah. I mean, they're not. I guess they're interesting. Like I'm like, would it really be that interesting? I remember being little though, sleeping in.
Yeah.
Who do we
Dad's
have?
bunk and all that stuff.
For somebody on the show, and all they could talk about was that they had, who was it over for supper? I can't remember now. Doggone it. Now I can't even remember the name now. I'm drawing a blank here. But it was it was a name dropper.
Yeah.
Oh, he came over for supper. Okay. Well, that's good. You know, so you go. You ate supper with Loretti, I'm sure, a few times.
Yeah, several times. I remember one time, like, sometimes one of her grandkids, Jenny, me and Jenny were the same age, and Jenny was Loretta's son Jack's, one of her, his kids. Me and Jenny just clicked, and so the guys would just let us have the stateroom on the band bus in the back, and it was just a whole week of just sleepover and pretending, putting makeup on, pretending, and we ran all over the place, especially at the ranch. Because they usually worked the ranch, and then we'd all head out on the road from there. So we had a big time. Yeah. And another time, like Loretta did a lot of package shows with Conway and like Crystal Gale. And I remember being in the dressing room backstage with Loretta and Crystal's daughter. And my hair was really, really long back then for years. And Crystal braided my hair before she went on stage to sing.
Uh-oh.
So I always thought that's kind of a cool story.
That's a great story.
That's kind of neat.
So you were living in...
I'd let Crystal braid my hair any old time. You ain't got no hair, though, so you ain't got nothing to worry about, all right?
Well, when you get some age on you, it either turns gray or turns loose.
There you go. That's my deal.
I like that. I like the turns.
That's a good one.
So back in the day, so you're working out of Nashville. Did they ever come to Houston? You remember?
I don't remember
Houston?
coming this. I didn't go on trips this far. Like I remember going to up Kentucky.
Yeah.
I'm sure we were in West Virginia. I remember we went like Hiwassee, Georgia, Calhoun, Georgia. And I'm just thinking I think one time the furthest I went as far as on the bus on the road was Indiana. It was a state fair. Indiana State Fair, but
well, did you go on Connie Smith's bus with your mom? Did you ever do that?
No, I was too little. Interesting, and just to name drop, which it wasn't until later I'm like, oh, I didn't put two and two together who was babysitting me. But when Mom was working on the Opry with Connie, well, my mom was best friends with Melba Montgomery, okay, and her husband Jack and my dad best friends, went hunting together all the time and all that. Well, it was actually Melba's girls that would babysit me, wow. Or Jack's sister Diane when I was little. So I was surrounded by everybody that was around me was involved in music somehow, or
Well, move into the kind of the recent decade or so, because I know that through you I got to meet a lot of people. But I mean, back when I lived in Tennessee, hanging out at the Opry.
Yeah, you already got to. Yeah, you probably saw me at the Opry when I was a kid, and I've said that to Randy. Because I'm like, I was at the Opry all the time, and Nashville Now and all that.
Well, I met your dad in 1972 at Myrtle Beach. But somebody that I met through, I didn't have any Texas connections. I was back east. But I know somebody who really cared for you a lot was Johnny Bush. And I wanted you to talk about him a little bit.
Oh, man. I love John. He was, not just his music and just what a trendsetter. I mean, that to me that was the king of the Texas dance halls. Period. So when I was really little, I actually swam in Johnny Bush's pool when I was visiting family in San Antonio. Me and my cousin Jeremy, and that's because at the time my aunt was dating him. So I had that memory, but then I didn't have a connection or really, I wasn't around Johnny Bush again that I remember until after my mom and stepdad got married, because my stepdad was a bandolero.
Right.
And
he played
steel. Dickie Overby, steel guitar player. And
I just wanted you to say
songwriter,
it.
too.
I know who he was, but I just wanted you to say it. So another name drop.
Yeah.
We just wanted to do that.
Yeah. And when I started, I guess when Justin Trevino met me, when he heard me, and then Dickie was always friends with John. And when he heard my singing and stuff, he was knocked out that I was a chick singing Johnny Bush songs and that I loved that music. We just clicked. We just became friends. I mean, John and my mom and stepdad just had that long time best friend relationship. They just call each other and start telling jokes. Then he started doing that with me. If I answered, I'd be like, "Oh, do you want to talk to Mom?" He'd be like, "No, I don't. I'll tell you this joke." And then we'd start chit chatting. And so we just developed a friendship that way. And I loved him. He was a great mentor. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that is good.
I don't know. We probably ought to say some things kind of a little philosophical, maybe. I reckon.
Go ahead. You're good at that.
In a rural kind of way.
That's why they call you Rural James.
Exactly.
How do we deal with the fact that this music that we can, from Johnny Bush to Amber Digby, how do we deal with the fact that we're not going to get hardly any radio play nowadays? And that's sad enough. What you pile on top of that, the kind of stuff that is getting, the Geesenslaws did a song, they call it country, we call it bad rock and roll. So how do we emotionally and mentally deal with us doing what we do? change and compromise, or maybe a little bit?
No, especially now, I would say there's no point in changing and compromising and trying to, what my generation, selling yourself out. It's because the industry is not what it was in the 90s. And it really started changing rapidly in the early 2000s. There was still people getting record deals with lots of money and stuff, but those days are over. And it's because of social media, meaning now people can put out their own music. They don't owe anyone that they can start their own YouTube channel and get heard that way. And people are making money. There are more ways to make money with your music, than I'm just going to go beat the pavement and really try to sell my stuff on it. Those days are long gone. And I found that out myself. Yeah. I had some things coming along and promises that weren't kept, and I went through a grieving process with that because it's, but then I got over it, and I'm like, you know what, it's fine, because like Vince Gill, he told me, because I would talk to him about stuff and just be like, man, I just want to know, be realistic, I can take it. He's the one that said, things aren't the way they used to be. He said, you've got it made. He said, you get to do the music you want to do, put out your records, your work in shows. And, and he's like the only people that are really still in that star, big famous star thing with a huge entourage is him and the Carrie Underwoods and the really, really big, flashy artists, or like him, the legends that are, that have been around.
That have been around.
Yeah.
Yep.
But like me, that's, I actually, and I do, I'm so thankful I get to do what I want to do, the way I want to do it. And he also said, you won't get to do that here. I promise you.
And so many go to Nashville, thinking they're going to get the big deal.
There's no such thing as big deals.
Yeah, and not only that, they go there, and then all of a sudden they become a sellout sometime. They go there not wanting to do the more contemporary sound or the more Baroque country, but they wind up doing it because maybe they can get a deal, and that's kind of sad too.
It is, because they end up getting lost in becoming a little fish.
Kind of a shuffle. Yep.
Well, and it becomes a one hit, one run through, and radio visits, and maybe one big blast over the airwaves, and then you never hear from because if they don't just break all kinds of records the first thing out of the chute, that's it.
Yep. Absolutely.
I'm really glad I asked that question, because I love your perspective about it, and your spirit that comes through about dealing with it. I go to, every now and then there's a concert hall just right near my house, dinner theater kind of thing, and I go there. I went there to hear the Bellamy Brothers, and I've heard them twice there, and they packed the place.
Oh, yeah.
But I would say the average age of the people in the audience is pretty close to my age at present.
And that's old. Real old.
And one of the best concerts I really ever heard in my whole life. And he and I, one of our biggest struggles about doing this is our being able to remember names. It's awful. Hey, but this guy started with Dottie West, playing bass for Dottie West. Then he had a Chet Atkins connection. Name? Somebody give me a name.
Steve Warner?
Steve Warner. There you go. Oh, bless you.
And she's a winner. All right there.
So I went to that concert hall to see Steve Warner, and it was incredible.
And he's good.
I love Steve Warner. And my Uncle Daryl and Dickie have a connection with Steve Warner. They knew Steve when he was a kid, and he used to jam with them.
Really?
Long time ago. And which I always thought, that is so weird, because I love Steve Warner.
Oh, yeah, he's good. He actually has a podcast on Wednesdays. It's called Warner Wednesday.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
So you have to need to
I'll have
find
to
that on
check that
Spotify
out.
or something.
But see, again, the crowd for Steve Wariner is people who loved him when the music was really a lot more. The scene was more than what it is now. And we talk about that. We talk about that sometimes. The difference between concerts and dance halls. You want to say anything about that?
I love dance halls. I mean, I cut my teeth in dance halls in Texas, you know, and but again, like with other things that have changed in the industry, even that scene changed, drastically changed because of the, pandemic thing, but it was already changing before that. Luckily though, when I got a taste of getting to do theater shows though, and like a show where it's an hour and a half, and we put together a set list, especially for that type of show, where we're not focusing on making sure people dance. I love doing that stuff. Oh, yeah. It really breaks up the monotony for me, because dance after dance and dances and that being the only thing. I mean, and it's probably because I'm such an artist that I get bored real easily. And it's like, I need to change. I need to do something different. So getting to do a sitting room, what we call sitting rooms, or which when we've gone on tours up the East Coast and stuff, or Midwest, it's really cool to get to do that. Yeah. It is more fun, like as far as fun and more comfortable environment, maybe to be. Yes, a dance hall for me is the most comfortable. But you do have to change your set list.
Well, I've gone to see you a couple of times at a local restaurant bar here in Conroe, close to where we are. It's called the Red Brick Tavern, and the owner, and she's an artist also. We've had her on here.
Cool.
And I love to see you there. You're going to be there again in November, I think.
Yes, November 5th. That's right, Red Brick Tavern. Yeah. Cool. No, I love playing there. It's the great atmosphere, and
people are there to listen.
They're there to listen, and I love that. You know,
cool. You did a lot. I've seen on YouTube. You do a lot of duos with a lot of different people. I've seen you do Tony Booth. You and Tony did some stuff. Probably the Heart of Texas. Maybe that was the big reunion. Is it what that is over there that they do?
They do. Yeah, every March. It's gosh, now it's like 2 weekends. It's a whole week, weekend to weekend, and it's the annual Heart of Texas Country Music Festival.
And Trevino, y'all do some stuff. Y'all sound good together.
Thank you. We sing a lot together. I mean, I've always been, I guess that's kind of the thing of an old school thing is I love doing duets with people. And that used to be like a major part of country music, in the 70s, 60s. Duets were huge sellers. I mean, that was the whole concept album of a duet record. I mean, Conway and Loretta and George and Tammy and, and I feel like that was lost over time,
You've got a project of duets.
I do.
And so before we close, one last monumental name dropping here. So who do you do duets with on that?
Vince Gill, Willie Nelson, Loretta Lynn, Johnny Rodriguez, Mo Bandy, Jerry Nail, Jeannie C. Riley, Jeannie Seeley. Help me out, honey. The Whites.
Did you do something with Millsap?
I have not. No,
you have not.
Not yet.
Okay.
The Whites.
Larry Gatlin. Yeah.
Gosh.
Oh, wow.
And who am I forgetting?
Oh, well,
who am I forgetting?
You've hit a home run.
That's a lot right there.
I feel like I know I'm forgetting somebody. Yeah. And it's bothering me.
Well, oh yeah.
You know what? I can just look on my phone. Actually.
She doesn't want that person to be.
I don't want them to be left out.
Did you say Loretta?
I did say Loretta, yes. Yeah. Which that was so awesome to get to do that.
I'm trying to think.
But not Connie, you didn't do?
No, I haven't done with Connie.
You've got a connection there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Willie, Loretta, Vince, the Whites.
Now, Vince.
Yeah, she said Vince.
Johnny Bush.
Oh, Johnny Bush. Oh, JB. I tell you what. I grew up on Johnny Bush. I'm showing my age, but back in the early 70s when he first had the RCA stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we wore that out, man. I mean, the 8-track tape.
And her Uncle Darrell, we didn't talk about.
We didn't talk Darrell McCall. Yeah.
That's her mother's brother.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, and he started out, he came to town with Johnny Paycheck before he was named Johnny Paycheck, and they were doing harmony sessions, like on Roger Miller albums and stuff like that. And
that had to be a hoot.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
So when we have Amber back, that'll be a good.
It would be. It'll be a great one. Man, we appreciate you being here.
I'd love it. Hey, thanks for asking me. I appreciate it.
This is some good stuff here. But we're gonna have you back because we gotta have a part 2.
That's cool. I love that.
A lot more stuff to talk about there.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being here.
Absolutely.
We'll see y'all on another one.
All right.
Adios.
Thanks for listening to The Big Show with Andy Gallo and Country Jim.
This has been a Unicap Media presentation.